All right, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. Thank you to FX Street for being wonderful hosts. We're very honored and very pleased to be presenting the monthly webinar. The monthly webinar got to be the biggest thing on the street. I believe it is being recorded. The monthly webinar, the big kahuna. So yeah. So anyways, if you're in the room to see how to trade the Asian session, then hey, you are in the right place, because there's things that are unique about every session. I like to say that every session is its own beast. It wears its own mask, and what an amateur trader loves to do in their process of losing money is treat every session exactly the same. That's just one of the plethora of mistakes that an amateur trader makes. So you know what? The Asian session is radically different from the European session, and the European session is radically different from the New York session, and New York is radically different from Asia. So, you know, each one has its own unique characteristics, and you need to know what they are and apply the proper logic and strategy to each session. Because remember, trade plans are really gathering intelligence, formulating a strategy, and then, of course, trading is all about execution of the strategy and then exiting for profit or for loss, right? Well, the intelligence is different for every particular session. So we're going to go through the Asian session today in great detail. In fact, so the first half is going to be for all members, and then the second part is going to be for premium members only. So welcome everybody. Now let me remind you that the purpose of this presentation is education. There are no alerts or trade recommendations given. However, we will show you how to apply technical and fundamental analysis to the Asian session with the overriding goal of helping you put together trade plans. Now, we all are aware that trading and investing is very risky business, but Forex is unique because of the high level of leverage. 50 to 1 in the United States, or perhaps even quite a bit more outside the United States. Now, as an amateur trader, you might get lucky once in a while and the leverage will work for you, but more often than not, the leverage will work against you. So do not trade real money until you have a track record of success using a demo account. But even then, the National Futures Association would like to remind you that past performance never guarantees future results. Therefore, never, ever trade money that you can't afford to lose. This game is for risk capital only. Hooah? Capiche? You get it? Yeah. Hooah! Now, you know what? We have one league dog in this presentation today. I decided to defer everything over to Rob Helene today, not necessarily me. I like trading the Asian session. I trade it virtually every day. I apply my own strategies that we teach at boot camp. But the real expert here is Rob Helene. And let me tell you why I've deferred. First of all, he is the coach at FX Boot Camp for the Asian session every single day. Okay, which makes sense. So I trade it most days. He trades it every day. But on top of that, Rob, you know, before he was known as Coach Rob, he was Kiwi Rob as a normal, regular member of FX Boot Camp for years and years and years, and then was promoted in the ranks to Coach Rob. Rob is from New Zealand. He's from the Asia Pacific region. So this is boots in the ground kind of thing. So it's not like he reads about it in a book like, I guess that's important to Asia Pacific region. No, I mean, this is where he was born and raised. So, you know, not only do we have an expert, you know, technically, but let's say also fundamentally and spiritually, he is an expert in the region. So again, part one, how to trade Asia, going through creating trade plans and why Asia is unique and all these different things. And then move over to the private session for VIPs only, part two, and he'll get more specific in tactics and I believe some live market analysis. So, woo-wee! Training organization, we teach traders how to trade Forex specifically, and we do so in the live market. So it's not about DVDs or buying a little book. But it's all about learning how to trade while the market's moving every single day. We're open all through Asia, all through pre-Europe, all through the European session, all through the pre-New York session, and through the New York session. So it says 12 hours a day, but we're open 15 hours a day with the addition of Rob last year. And Rob's been a coach, I believe, for a full year now. I think we're coming up to that big anniversary, so we're going to have to get out the streamers and throw a parade somewhere. Maybe downtown Tokyo we'll have a parade for in Rob's honor. But in any case, it's all about live analysis, and it's all about real world, taking theory that you learn in the books and apply it to actual practice. Okay. Now there are many ways that we offer help. We're here at FX Street all the time. Webinars like this. Perhaps you've attended my trade non-farm payrolls live presentations. Perhaps you've been a member of FX Bootcamp, but another way to get help from us is I did write a book, Strategic and Tactical Forex Trading. A couple of years ago, it came out #1 on Amazon.com, and the last time I pulled this image up, which was about a month ago, it's in the top 4 best-selling Forex books of all time. And I believe it's the highest rated. So that's pretty cool. That means we've earned a lot of respect from our fellow traders. So thank you very much. Another way to get help from us is go to blogs, right? http://blogs.fxstreet.com/FXBootcamp. And here, Rob every single day puts in a video, the Asian Outlook video. It's not past what we did, but what he thinks is going to happen in the upcoming Asia session. Okay? Before he starts coaching, he produces this video. And so you can get it right there in the blog section of fxstreet.com. Every single day he puts it up there. And again, it's his outlook for the upcoming session. Great way to learn because you can watch the video and then watch the charts in real time and say, that Rob Helene? It's a genius. Because that's what I think. So hopefully you think the same way. So whether you catch non-farm payrolls live or come to more seminars that we do at FX Street or sign up for the blog or buy our book or join FX Bootcamp, we're here for you. We love you. And in fact, I've been working with FX Street now for I think 6 of their 10 years. And I can tell you from day one, we've always sat down asking each other how we could help you. How can FX Bootcamp and FX Street have a real impact and a lasting impact on your particular trading? All right, this is the raison d'être. So thank you to FX Street for such a wonderful relationship, and I hope you guys appreciate it because both organizations break their back for your success. So attend our stuff or just sit here at FX Street all day and all night, every day, gathering as much information as you possibly can. All right? So we're here for you. All right, so like I said, I'm going to defer because I know how to trade Asia. I love trading Asia, but, we have someone from the region. We have someone that trades it all day, every day. We have a specialty or a specialist, So I'm going to defer and have Rob Helene do the entire presentation because he's the best guy to possibly be doing this. So without further ado, the coach of the Asian session for FX Bootcamp.
For giving me the opportunity. I'm going to get started here straight into the slides, guys. It was a couple of days ago, PJ, because I had to prepare for this webinar, so there wasn't a video yesterday, but there'll be one. I'll probably do one today for the upcoming session. Okay. So Wayne gave us the risk warning. Okay. So I'm going to get started here. I'm good, thanks, Colin. A little bit early for me in California, but I'm usually up around this time anyway. Thanks, Maud. Thanks for having us. This is how it's gonna break down for most of you today, guys. We're going to talk about trading the Asia session in general, okay? And what you can look forward to trading, or what's the best currencies to trade, and some ideas about trade planning and doing analysis and things during the Asia session. Okay, I'm going to go through why. And give you guys some ideas. I take it a lot of you guys are part-time traders trying to be full-time, or there's probably a lot of full-time traders here trying to make some improvements maybe and how they trade. And if you don't generally trade Asia, I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do that. Essentially, essentially I'm just going to be a giant dump truck for you guys, and over the next 3 hours, I'm just going to dump every single thing that I know on you about trading, not only Asia, but just trading in general, okay? And we'll see how we go from there. We've got plenty of time. We've got 1.5 hours for the part one, the 30-minute break, and then part two. And so we've got a lot of time there. So there's a lot of time to have open conversations, and if we do have any spare time, maybe answer some specific questions to questions that you people out there have. Okay, I'm here for you guys. Okay, more than you're here for me. So part one is, as I was mentioning, how to trade the Asia session in general, some ideas, what to trade during Asia, how to trade plan, all that sort of good stuff. Then part two will be for the people who have the premium members. We're gonna get really deep into specific tools you can use in trade planning, trade management, doing analysis, and lots of trade strategies. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff, and for a lot of you, stuff that you would never have seen before. Stuff that we've developed as a group in just trading Asia, and hopefully some of it will be useful to you guys in the future. Okay. So, thought it would be good for me to start, just build a little bit on what Wayne was mentioning about myself. We started FX Bootcamp Asia session a year ago, October 2009, Asia session. And it came about, there's a little quick story, but it came about, not only am I a New Zealander, and so I have an affiliation with that time, but Asia was really the only time of the day that I could learn to trade in, on the most part, because like most of you people out there, or most people trying to be full-time traders, I had a job, very busy job, full-time job, and I needed a window in the day that I could actually apply what Bootcamp was teaching me, and learn my trade. So it was actually the Asia hours that I was able to do that. I live in Southern California. Fantastic lifestyle. Absolutely rubbish when it comes to Forex trading. It's probably some of the worst hours in the world when it comes to Forex trading. Hey David, how you doing? Good morning, another California. So yeah, very, very poor hours for trading in California. Asia session's not too bad. Asia session for me starts at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so there's a window there between, say, 4 and dinner time where you can actually sit down, do some analysis and trade planning, and then see how you go, make some trades and get yourself underway. Okay, so the Asia hours for a lot of people, especially in the United States, East Coast included, gets underway 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States. It's really the only time of day for a lot of people who have full-time jobs and families and other commitments can actually sit down and learn how to trade. Okay, so that was largely me also. So it was also, the boot camp was officially not actually coaching, but Wayne would leave the room open, and some of us would be in the room just typing away to each other. And it was like, hey Wayne, this Asia session moves. This thing rocks. You need to start coaching this thing. Yes, I had a very busy job. I actually sat in a plane more than on the land most of the time, so it was very busy. And so Wayne took a little bit of a gamble, and he decided to introduce this Asia session, and it was very good for the current bootcamp members. It was able to increase their flexibility in learning how to trade, and a lot of boot campers were thankful for that. And currently, every day, we get about 80 to 90 people. We've touched 100 a few times recently, every day, and that's pretty much double on what we started with. So we're getting a solid 80, 90 people from zero, just coaching, just trading along with us in the Asian session every single day. I think that's a pretty good number. I think it's something we can look to build on. The good thing, these 80, 90 members, these people, guys, A lot of them are going to be long-term boot campers. They're coming back every single day to trade along in Asia. Okay, and well, I've probably been over you many times, DT. A lot. Okay, yeah, the times we coach it's coached 5 days a week, 7 till 10 Eastern in the United States. Okay, and we've introduced over time. We're like a group. We're evolving together. It's not just me, just every day. You know, do this, do that. This is what's happening here. This is what's happening here. We're growing as a group. We're having open forums. People are talking about their trading issues. We're currently developing a template for a trading strategy together that people are going to be able to use. So someone who's got absolutely no Forex trading at all experience, who's actually trying to get to where I've got, you know, we're going to have a documented strategy on how to do that. Okay? We're very interactive. Very, very interactive. And I think a lot of people are happy for that. Okay? It's not just a one-way conversation. You know, I'm only talking like half the time. A lot of people are typing in the room their issues and what do you think of this and what do you think of that, and can we go look at this? Can we go look at that? Hey, I want to trade the Aussie today. Is there a trade plan here? Or, hey, that's a really cool, here's my analysis on the euro pound. What do you think? Is there a long there today? And we sort of have a look at it as a group, and we all decide, and we sort of have a group consensus on what we think is going to happen. And you know, when you have that, when you put a lot of brains together, you actually get pretty accurate with your analysis and your planning and your management. And we do some pretty good trading in Asia. Okay. So, a few points on how things are different in Asia, guys. Obviously, Asia has, compared to the other sessions, if you didn't know this, London session by far has the most volatility, followed by New York. Okay, and then Asia does come in third. So there is a general less volatility. So people naturally have actually they who are learning to trade, they look at Asia and go, well, it doesn't move. I'm not going to trade that. I'm going to go to somewhere where it moves. Fair enough, but sometimes having something that is moving in a direction but not as fast as, say, a London session or a New York session, especially when something like, you know, the New York stock market's opened, can actually be beneficial, especially for a more novice trader. Making a trade in Asia and saying, okay, after 30 minutes I'm up 15 pips, after an hour I'm up 20 pips, after 2 hours I'm up 30 pips, can actually be easier for someone learning to trade compared to someone who takes a trade in London and, whoa, I'm down 20 pips, whoa, I'm up 25 pips, whoa. Oops. Just got a little alarm there on my charts. What's going on here? And before they know it, they're out of their trade and they've taken a loss, or they've got out early and then they see it go in their right direction. But yeah, Asia, a lot less volatile. So it's very much like, okay, we're at support, make a trade plan, execute the trade. Hey, it seems to be working, off it goes. And it hasn't got that whole hustle and bustle that you see in the New York or London Open. Okay, I think for a lot of new traders, London can actually catch a lot of people out. I mean, you can have a pound 15-minute candle on the Open of London that's up and down 30, 40 pips 3 or 4 times in a 15-minute candle. It can really pose some problems to some people. Okay, so Asia, a little bit different. Asia gives yes, Wayne. Asia, a lot less volatility. So for a more novice trader, it actually presents itself some nice trading opportunities. A lot of the money's moving around on non-trading transactions. Okay, this whole Forex business, the money moving around the world, well, a lot of it's transactions between banks and companies. It's people in America like Apple who are buying electronic components for their iPhones and iPads and all that sort of transactional information taking place, you know, with Asia. It's also people who are buying, coffee, companies who are buying coffee or cocoa and rice and all that sort of stuff. Well, it's all the financial transactions as well going on around the planet. It's not just like more you'd see in London, traders actually, or hedge funds and traders trading money. It's more, a lot of it is business transactions. Europe and America making transactions with Asia. It's still technical, okay? And we'll go through. It's as technical as any other session. Basically, in London, as us, when you're trading in London or New York, well, we're trying to trade along with where the big money's going, right? So the big money's like the whale in the ocean, and where the small fish sort of tucked into the whale. Well, it's just a different sort of whale in Asia. Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to answer in yes and no. Okay, it just depends on what's happening. Some days Asia is extremely technical, and off it goes. And I'll show you how it's been technical in the last couple of weeks. And then some days it's like, what's going on here, Asia? Not too sure what's going on. Okay, like any other session, there is a time where you may sit down in Asia and go, hey, there's no trade here today. I can't trade this. We're not at support. We're not at resistance. Price action doesn't make sense. Got a lot of news out on tap. Not always live song, and I'll show you. I'll go through some. I've got live charts here, just in the last few weeks, on just how technically beautiful Asia has been trading. Okay, I've got some personal ideas about how to trade it. Okay. Now I've got here often moves in the opposite direction of Europe and New York. Now it used to be the case. I'm just going to draw on the screen here. It used to be the case that if if London and New York went in one direction, Asia would always fade it. So if London, I'm just going to draw on here, if London and New York were up for the day, Asia would always be this pullback component. Asia would always be this pullback component, and then you generally get the continuation of the trend. And that's how markets generally trend. Off it goes. London's up. New York just continues it. Well, markets get exhausted. At the end of London and New York, people take profit. You get like a pullback in Asia. Asia shorts it because it's at resistance. London comes in, it's at support, and off it goes. But what we're finding now is that's not always the case. But if you've definitely got this situation happening where we're actually entering the market or Asia up in this sort of area here where I'm highlighting, you need to, we're going to have to apply some sort of Asia fade type trading strategies if you're going to make a trade in Asia. And we'll cover that off as part of this session. Okay? We'll take a little look at that. And we'll see if we can find some examples of the Asia fade. To be honest, since I was asked, we decided to do the webinar, Asia actually hasn't faded that much. Asia has been one of the sessions to be trading. I don't know whether it's like, I look at it as like it's a seasonal thing, like the Asia trade winds have picked up, but we've been trading some pretty nice trades in Asia that lately that have actually given direction for the day, and a lot of boot campers have been able to get into trades in Asia, and by the end of New York they're still in them. So some pretty nice trading. Okay. So got this little slide here of GFT. You may have seen it before, but this is the Asia session in the red box. Okay, so there's a lot of countries. There's a change of day there. There's a lot of countries involved. It starts off with little old New Zealand, and we're going to cover a little bit of gap trading here. And this is where across the weekends you have a lot of geopolitical news. A lot of people make transactions. Say you have late news on Friday, around the world that may affect the markets on Monday. A lot of these transactions are going to get done in little old New Zealand, the first country to see the new day, or in the Forex world, the new week. They get performed there. That's how you can see gaps in the market and things. We're going to cover that off. But through Asia, one of the things that's quite interesting is how you get several different time zones, okay, throughout Asia alone, through the Asia session, and each one of these presents itself with new money in the market, i.e. business transactions. New Zealand can open, and it's the first opportunity for Europeans and Americans to get money into the Asian markets. Okay, New Zealand, by the way, world's biggest, not only, a lot of people think, oh, it's the world's biggest sheep nation. True, it's also the world's biggest dairy nation. It produces more milk in the world than any other country. Milk is a very, very huge resource for a lot of countries, so most of the milk in New Zealand gets sent offshore, of course. So milk, believe it or not, if you want to know what the New Zealand dollar is going to do, understand the milk industry in New Zealand, the dairy industry, if you want to trade along fundamentally. Thank you, Wayne. Okay, and then not long after New Zealand's opened, Japan opens, Tokyo, more money into the market. Nice name, squiggly line. I'm not sure about the price of project. I'm going back for Christmas, I'll check it out. And then after Japan opens, guys, we have China opens. China opens. More little bits of money. So it's sort of every hour in Asia on the hour, you can almost look forward to a little injection of money into the market. Okay? And here I am over here in little old California, okay? So if you don't trade Asia and you want the opportunity, anywhere over here, I think, onwards, is actually probably a good time frame to do it. One of the best. Very hard if you're in Europe. Okay, very hard to trade Asia if you're here. Believe it or not, a lot of my boot campers stay up. They live in Italy, United Kingdom, Finland. China opens halfway through our Asia session. FX isn't active there, but China is buying up all the resources from Australia large. So there's a lot of transactions happening in Australian dollars and things like that. Okay? Okay, so yeah, not many people in Europe and the Africas, although I do have South Africans as well. I've had, a lot of people. But yeah, it's generally United. The people that are coaching or trading Asia and bootcamp are highlighted. I'll change color, highlight in green. But the boot campers that are attending Asia are pretty much all in here: New Zealand, Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, and most of them are also over here in Canada and the United States. And we do have some Brazilians and some people from Central America and South America and all that sort of stuff. So in the green, these are the people that are attending bootcamp Asia sessions. Sort of pretty good hours to trade it as well. Okay, we have not got the best hours in California. Here I am over here. Do not have the best hours for forex trading. Okay, so what to trade, guys? Well, this comes from the FX Bootcamp quant analysis, Kurt Worley. Okay, this is the average range during the Tokyo session of all the pairs, all the mainstream pairs, and most of the pairs that we trade within FX Bootcamp. Okay, and you can see that, and it's to no surprise, but yeah, the pound yen, euro yen combinations, which are generally the biggest movers in a given day in any session, the biggest movers in Asia. You know, no surprise, anything tagged with a yen is a big mover. So if you're trading along in Asia, if you're gonna create Asia-specific strategies, if you don't have much time to sit down and do some analysis before you trade plan, just got home from work, things are busy, got kids, whatever, got to catch your favorite show on TV, and you wanna trade plan and make some trading, we might prioritize it by, on average, which one's going to move the most. Well, on average, and this data I think it's pretty much 6 months from January through to June this year, yen pairs, Aussie yen, Euro yen, pound yen. So that gives you an idea of how you could prioritize. If you wanted an idea of how you should prioritize your analysis before making trade planning, you could do it along the lines of what pairs are likely to give you the most profit during the session. Okay, I'm a little bit surprised to see the Aussie's not a little bit more up there, because I see the Aussie, it moves quite a bit in Asia, and even more. I'm very surprised that the pound Swissy actually moves fractionally more, but is what it is. That's what the data is telling you. Okay, but essentially, especially if you're a more novice trader, these yen pairs, they can be a little bit daunting to some people. And just because you see a Kiwi New Zealand dollar down here, or even a CAD, or the Aussie, or the Euro here, for example, in the lower sort of half, does not mean you can trade them. Yes, Aussie is now on fire. Okay? So just some ideas about what you could be trading during the session. Okay, here's how to trade, guys. You know, we're not trading gold as such. We do some analysis on it. Okay, but of course gold heavily, commodity, and so that is going to trade along with the commodity currencies. But comparison, I'd say gold is not as big a mover as say the yen pairs, but yes, it does move. These are some of the strategies. These are the strategies the 4 strategies that I prefer to trade personally. Okay, guys, it's not the same for everybody, but my strategy number 1 is, and it applies for any session. Okay, it's a time of day based trading strategy. The most underrated technical tool that any of us can use as a trader is the clock sitting on the wall. I don't know if many of you didn't know this, but you have a market. There's 3 main market opens throughout the day. Okay, we've got Asia, we've got London, and we've got the old New York. Okay, if you're at support or resistance longer term at the start of any of these sessions, you need to trade in that direction. A trader coming in London early in the morning finds himself sitting at long-term resistance or support is going to short off resistance or trade off support. And it's the same in New York, and very much these days, and I'll show you in a moment on some charts, Asia, I'm finding, is very much the same. If you're sitting in Asia at the moment at support or resistance, you should trade plan for that trend to continue. Now, anyone got any ideas why you should do that? There's a huge benefit in Asia. If you're at long-term support or resistance, if Asia's going to open, if Tokyo's going to open, and we have something like this going on. We've been in this 4-hour uptrend, and we're here in Asia opening the market at a fib level of a 4-hour swing. Can anyone tell me the benefit of doing that in Asia? They are very low-risk trades, and I can show you how low-risk some of these things are. So low risk, so the risk-reward is good. The thing I like about it, guys, is you buy in Asia. That's right, Lance. Lance nailed it. You get in Asia at long-term support or resistance, there's a good chance at the end of the, say, New York session, you're going to be up here. And so this sort of distance here is usually hundreds or multiple hundreds of pips. Okay, so you're getting in. You know, does anyone trade just London alone? London, they come in and it's gone. How often have you seen that recently? You come into London, it's like Asia just stole all the pips. And London in this candle just here, in this arrow just here that I'm circling, you're going to get something like this. Asia takes it up. London just, you know, back to like a fast-moving EMA, like a 5 EMA, and then gone. Very hard to get into as well. Asia, the ultimate entry. Make your trades, go to bed, get a life, do something else, and then just let it go. And that's what I love. Sometimes I trade London, I trade along with the guys in London or New York as well, a little bit of that. I have some flexibility. And quite often, if I get into a good trade at support or resistance in Asia, the rest of my day, guys, is trade management, not looking to make any more. Get into a couple of trades, they're up a couple of hundred pips, sitting there in London going, okay, I'll just, you know, put the game on while the charts move. Okay, so Asia can, if you're sitting down to trade Asia and you're doing your analysis and you see you're at support or resistance in Asia, you have to take a shot, okay? So time of day, guys, is a very, very important factor. Just like any other session. If you're opening at support or resistance, you need to take a shot. And just like Wayne's saying, it's another way of looking at it. It can set you up for those swing trades, those day trades that you want to hold for a whole day. Perfect time to do that. If you're a more of a long-term trader, if you don't like spot trading your way around off the smaller term charts, you like something off a longer term chart, the Asia session is probably the best session to set that up overall. I'll show you some charts in a second. Okay, so yeah, look to buy if long-term support, sell off long-term resistance. Okay, and often this will be the direction for the day, and therefore provides nice swing or position trade opportunities. Okay, let me show you some slides, some live charts here quickly, guys. This here, let me just get rid of Fibonacci. Okay, so SW1, this here, this line here is the Asia Open. In fact, let me show you on a daily chart for the Aussie. We opened Asia at a level of support around this daily 21 EMA. Daily 21 EMA, let me just give you a quick 2 seconds how to read this chart in terms of analysis. This is the Aussie USD daily chart, okay? You can see what this tells me when I'm looking at this in terms of analysis is a very fast uptrend, massive amounts of angle and separation on these EMAs, and largely riding a daily 5 EMA, okay, since late August, and we are in halfway through October. That's a long time and a very fast trend. Okay, so we know at boot camp that if we break through that 5 and do come down a level, a daily 21 EMA is likely to be the first area to find some respect. And sure enough, as I took the microphone and was coaching the Asia session, this candle, we were bottoming right here in Asia at the open. said to the class, and it was happening on you look at the euro, you look at the pound, the Kiwi, they're all doing the same thing. Okay? Sat there and said to the class, oh, we're going to need to long this thing, guys. This thing is opening at a bottom at Asia. If this gets long, it is gone for the day. Or 2, or 3, or 4, or who knows. Okay? I'll show you on that same, on the shorter term time frame. Here it is over here. And this area is the open of Asia. So we were able to, our analysis told us to have a long bias. We're at long-term support at the open of Asia. We used our multiple time frame or fractal skills, and we waited for a change of trend on a 15-minute chart. In fact, I can even quickly show you that. And we looked to long this pair in Asia. Here it is right here. So that's the same area on a 15-minute chart, okay? I can zoom out here for you a little bit. So we found a bottom here. Let's get this chart across. Oh, this will do. So here's that price coming down. This area here is the daily 21. Shows some hesitation. People are trying to buy here. All of a sudden, from being down all day, in fact, was it this day here? This was China increasing, was it raising their interest rates before the G20 for some crazy reason? I don't know, political move or whatever that was. So showed some hesitation, pulled back, still higher low here with respect to these ones, and off it went. So a lot of us were able to get ourselves at the open of Tokyo, right here, okay, on this line, take ourselves a long shot, and off it went. Yes, it's the pound yen. She's a beast. And then, yeah, off it went. Okay, so this guys, is this is Asia here. This is the open of Asia. This is the open of Asia the next day. Okay, so you can see what happened. Asia got this thing long. London, basically minimal pullback here. Minimal pullback during London, and then just, no, we're very, very bullish about this. Off the long-term support, and off we go. What do you mean, Nicholas? The time of day, and this is GMT, this chart, I think. Is that what you're asking? No. Hang on. No, that's GMT. Asia Open, 2300 GMT. Yes. They're in, I think they're in GMT, yeah? Okay. Cool. So that just shows you guys, trading along in Asia, opened at support, got long. Check this out on the pound 4-hour chart. Just recently. No, Japan, Hong Kong first, Bob, and then China later. Like an hour and a half later. So there's some different injections of money into the market. Sometimes you need to be a little bit careful. Okay, so here's the same thing on the pound, guys. This was daily 21 territory. Okay, the pound did exactly the same thing. They all did the same thing in Asia on the same day. Okay, but I also just want to highlight to you, circle this. This is Asia Open, okay, over the past few days. Very interesting, and this has happened every day. These are beautiful levels of support or resistance up here. That's resistance up here, of course. This is support, support, support. If you're a technician trading along and you're looking to make price action based trade plans, that's long there as well. Asia has opened at support or resistance, levels of support or resistance on these pairs most days, nearly every day. And if it's doing that, guys, you need to trade plan in that direction. These are 4-hour charts, of course. You can wait for, once you know you're at a level of support or resistance, you can wait for a shorter term time frame and take a shot. Just things like, I'm not sure if you understand price action. Okay. And price action, let me just give you a quick lesson here. We're going to cover it more off later, but if you're in an uptrend, price action has you in a series of higher highs and higher lows. You guys understand this? Okay. So we know how price moves that, and we use our Fibonacci tools. Well, if you're at an area like this in an uptrend, you should expect the trend to continue. Doesn't quite matter what time SW1, as long as it's in the around that time of day. Okay, so do you want me to go back to that Aussie day, you mean, Nicholas, on the Aussie? Is that what you're asking? I mean, we've got time to answer these questions if you want. Oh, do you mean this? Do you mean this pound here? This is the pound I'm on here. But yeah, do you mean this candle, this day here? Or on the Aussie? Okay, let me just explain this one here, guys, because this is actually, okay, so let me just answer this one first, Nicholas, and then we'll take a look at the Aussie, but this is important, okay? So yesterday in Asia, I said to my class we won't go into the technicals, this is a 4-hour chart, yes. Looking at the pound yesterday, we were up here opening in Asia. Okay, so we've got this 4-hour maybe looking to make an uptrend. Let me show you. This is what we're looking at in Asia yesterday. Okay, so Asia's like this, and then we get this green candle. Okay, to open Asia. So I said to the class, I said, if we're going to continue heading up on this pound, okay, if we're going to make these higher lows and keep this going, we need to see a pullback and then a long. Okay? Now, inside here, inside this swing on a 4-hour chart, the 15-minute chart is doing something like this. It's making these little swings like this. Okay, and sort of doing a little mini Asia running off into the sunset type deal. Not really able to trade it in the Asia session. But I said to my class, for the people who are going to stay around for, because we generally use Asia to set up the day. Okay, we quite often set up Asia in Asia, even if we're not trading anything, we set up what might happen in the next coming sessions, like London and even New York. We can actually, we've learned to predict what the day is going to be like. Okay, we do a lot of analysis. I mean, as any trader, 85, 90% of your time should be doing analysis. Okay, even more. And then it's the small percentages that you're actually in the trades. Okay, so I said to the class, this pound is sort of racing off here, but this is exactly what you're going to need to see, guys. You're going to need to see a fib of that whole rise. Okay, and essentially the 15 minutes is going to have to probably come down and then resurrect itself back to an uptrend. And essentially, that's just like an hour chart doing its thing, or a 4-hour chart forming a higher low. Okay, so sure enough, after Asia yesterday, the pound does exactly what we thought. It's about knowing, it's about expecting something ahead of time. Here's its 15-minute, and this is Asia starting here. in this pink line, okay? And so this is New York down here, sort of late New York, the end of the day. This sort of is, this is sort of that window between late New York and nothing else much going on in here, okay? And so the pound to sort of continue this. So I said to the guys, you know, our analysis. Here's our trade plan. We did our analysis. We're bullish on the pound for the day. We need a fib, a move fib of that rise to take ourselves a shot, okay? And then off we go. So if I put Fibonacci up here, comes back, Fibonacci retraces back to exactly a 618 Fibonacci level of the rise and gets long. Something else specific about that? Anyone else tell me? Can anyone else tell me what is specific about that area on the chart? It's a support level. Exactly, live song. Just like I was mentioning, if you're at support in Asia, if you're opening at support in Asia or resistance in Asia, you know, this is a fib of this sort of drop, you know, expect price to do that sort of thing. This is London, guys, at a level of support, opening London. Boom. Any surprise to see London long the yin-yang out of that thing? But what we know is we do our analysis on the long-term charts. Okay, we're bullish on the pound. Our analysis told us we're bullish. Looking for these major longs. And we got the next one at a London open. Nice pullback. Off we go. Okay? Very simple. Very, actually very simple way to trade. And if you're wondering here how we got the, I'm a fan of price action. I'm a fan of using price action within multiple time frames. Okay, so we go and do stuff out on monthly and weekly charts, and we build trade plans for the future and stuff. Not so much the weekly and monthly, Bob. I don't think you can trade exactly off them. But they can tell you a lot, and I will give you an example at the end if we do have an example. Okay? So, here is our daily chart on the pound. Okay, we'll use this as an example, okay, right now. Okay? Here's our daily chart. In fact, let's do this. Oh, it's going to freak some people out here. Here's a weekly chart. Okay. Well, of course, nothing works 100% of the time, Nicholas. Otherwise, we would have all worked it out and would be all mega rich. But this is about trying to stack the odds in your favor. And I'll show you. I can show you how to get into small-term, very low-risk entries. And so, you get away with a, 15 pip loss type thing if you're wrong. But if you're right, you'll make 200. Okay, so we'll get there, SW1. Is that your postcode in London or something, SW? I used to live there. So here's the pound, guys. Okay, pound is in a weekly uptrend, as you can see by these arrows. Okay, no problem. Now, we like the fact that if we're in a weekly uptrend, we would like to see this maybe continue. Yes, Kenya, it's a little bit different. Okay, so we're looking for maybe something like that. Okay, so in a weekly swing, we're looking at a level of support. By the way, I am going to go into the other Asia-specific strategies after this, but this is you're asking about it. It is important to understand. Okay, so looking for this. Okay, so surprise, surprise, when we come down to a fib level around 50% on this swing, this chart starts to see some green. Okay, so that's the first point to note. If we go to our daily chart, here's the same fib drawn on the daily chart, okay? That's a weekly swing drawn on a daily chart. What's worth noting is on the fractal nature of the market that if you have a swing, like if that's a weekly swing, okay, remember that what that weekly swing looks like. Look what the daily is doing inside that swing. The daily chart inside there is a whole load of uptrends within itself, isn't it? Sort of got itself in this little uptrend. Okay? Do you see that? And then you get this little downtrend. And now we're continuing back to the upside. So this is essentially what a weekly swing looks like in a daily chart. It goes up, it pulls back, and continues. So you get a daily uptrend, a daily downtrend, and it just happens that the daily changes trend at a higher low with respect to this low here. And then off you go. And that's exactly how we read this pound and exactly how we use it to our advantage to do our trade planning. Not really looking in the context of Elliott wave, but just buying at support, selling at resistance, knowing that a weekly chart is more powerful than a daily, and a daily chart's more powerful than a 4-hour. Okay? So, we knew in advance in boot camp that we are at levels of support. Okay? And sure enough, our daily chart is starting to turn itself around back to the upside. We knew this in advance. It was higher low, higher high. Okay? So we're looking now, for opportunities to long. It's also, yes, coming off a 55 EMA. So break the 21, the next stop will be the 55, very well picked out. It's also in the vicinity. This is very, very, very important. Psych levels. Things hold at psych levels, guys. Things hesitate around psych levels. Okay, it's 154 psych level. 153 was this bottom here. Okay, psych levels are very, 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 very important. Okay, of course, here's our 160 psych level, has been resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, so we know this in advance. Okay, so then we can go down to our 4-hour chart and we can really start trade planning. And it's very important, guys, to look at this with multiple time frames. Here's that same move on a 4-hour chart. Okay, and if you can understand that, if that's a daily swing in pink, see you, Wayne. Have a good New York with the guys. If you can understand this, look at the 4 hours swinging and doing its thing within the context of the daily chart now. So the fractal nature of the market, okay? So we can use all this stuff to our advantage and trade plan off it. So if we know that we're bullish because of what's happening here, we know this is a weekly swing here. Okay, we know that a daily chart, this is our daily higher low. Yeah, 4-hour went a little uptrend, 4-hour came in a little downtrend here, but has changed back to an uptrend at a higher low. We can be bullish. So our analysis is saying we're bulls, we look to get long. Yeah, pretty much similar, in a nutshell, double bottom, Brendan. Technically, it's higher, it's actually a higher low. And a lot of people, 50% of people will see that as being a double bottom. 50% will see that as being a higher low with respect to that one. What you're looking for, Adrian, is multiple things. Okay, so we had fib levels here, and some psych levels and stuff, so it's multiple things, but you can I like the old horizontal, stuff like this, okay, and we know that if we zoom out here, and we throw our fib tool back up, that it's around that 50. It's close enough to that 50% fib area and stuff. And also very much role reversal, i.e. these lows, or I can get my paintbrush out actually, but this is support through here that starts acting as resistance in all these other little areas here. So sort of look out across. So when we were doing our analysis, when we were here in boot camp, okay, when we were here, the first touch of this, okay, when we're at we knew that we could be running into support because of what the previous price action was telling us, okay? We knew that this could have been support. It's the fib level around the psych level. It doesn't have to be pitch perfect, guys. It doesn't have to hit things to the pip. Okay? It can just wick, because on a daily chart, this is a 4-hour chart, daily chart, that's just going to be a little wick through the value. It's going to look completely different. So we knew by looking at this that this is an area that could hold. So we were looking for a 4-hour directional change here. We know we're at weekly support. Give us a 4-hour directional change. And so it's done exactly that. So you could have, if you were really keen, you could have trade planned that long. And we did in Asia. That's that same swing I was showing you on the Aussie. Okay? Same swing I was showing you on the Aussie, same day. It got long off there. Now, you might not have been able to hold on to that, and we double bottomed essentially. Okay? So, no big deal. Once you see a change of trend back to the upside, higher highs, higher lows here, very important, you can trade plan again and buy it again. And this time it's gone. And we, in boot camp, we like to hold on to these things. Some people in boot camp are in this thing, and I'm telling them to hold on to the 162s. Off we go, because that's what I think is largely going to happen. To manage it, what I'm saying to them is maybe if we get a change of trend in this area, in the 160s, Brendan, probably if the guys that have gotten down here or here or here have moved their stops to this swing, that's a move fib, so that's significant, okay? And they've got to stop here. But if they see a change of trend back to the downside up here, so if we start seeing this play out up here, we might get out of it. Yes, PJK, I'd be expecting something like this now. Give us a like a 70 pip pullback or something, and then long it. Opportunity again. Okay? And that's exactly the sort of thing we'll look at class today. Hopefully in class today, Asia will open up somewhere down here, and we'll discuss it together, trade plan it together, build a trade plan. Now, if you're entering here, your profit targets are going to be different, okay, than if you're entering down here. Then yes, you will probably use the trade management, because if you get a 4-hour change of trend in this green zone to the downside on a 4-hour, what's that going to look like? On a daily chart, it's going to look like this, isn't it? It's going to maybe look like that this daily is fibbing in this direction, and we're going to start doing this sort of thing. Okay? Also got to look at what that Euro and the Aussie and that are doing. They're looking to get bigger scale pullbacks. So that's why you might look to use the trade at the 4 hour. Using multiple time frames, guys, can help you a lot. Okay, let's go through some more of these. That's our S&R at Asia Open. Okay, and that's the main one. So I'm glad that we've spent a little bit of time looking at that to show you guys the sort of thing that we look at in boot camp. That's the sort of thing we look at, and we try to trade every day. That's the first thing we're looking at, those sorts of opportunities, because they give us the low-risk entries with maximum profit potential. Okay? There's some other little things, right? So we can trade the fade. Personally, I don't think it's a good tool for, I'm going to be 100% honest here, it's not the world's best tool for a novice trader. Because if you've got this sort of thing happening, okay, so we are here at Asia Open. So we're opening the market here, okay? New York and London were up all day, and you're here. Well, really the only way to trade this that makes sense psychologically, and you're at resistance very much so. The only way to trade this is to actually trade it hopefully in this direction, okay, to the downside, before probably other markets are going to come in later on, like London, and continue it. Well, that pink line is a tradable strategy. Okay? It's difficult though. You guys understand counter trend trading against the trend? It sort of hurts a bit. Because you've got so much, yes, you're going against the long-term trend. The fade is against the long-term trend, okay? Now, what you'll realize is, they call it the Asia fade. It's known as being the Asia fade because historically, those pullbacks generally happened in Asia. But it's definitely not the case. I think lately, more often than not, you've seen London fades or New York fades. So a little technical tidbit for you guys is this, is if Asia does this and London does that, so Asia opens down here, okay, so down here, and this is like a big 4-hour candle, and you get this 15-minute up, London sort of just pulls back and then continues it. New York is going to probably fade this. New York is probably going to do the little downtrend bit, because you're at levels of resistance. Psychologically, people can't long there anymore. Okay, so you can trade the fade in Asia, and probably you should know going into Asia that if you're up in levels like this, that there is a good chance that you can fade it and get away with it. Because there's no way that London is going to want to long there. They're going to want to long down here. Okay? Yeah. So what I like to use for the fading guys is I like to use pivot points. I'm probably one of the world's biggest pivot point traders. Me and pivot points do things that we've discovered techniques that a lot of other people don't use. So if you are at Asia opening and things are in pivot areas like here, you're asking me about what would I expect on the pound. Well, I would expect a fade now. This is the daily pivots. This is that pound. We've reached extreme pivots for the day. Okay? I think we'll meander around here a little bit, and I think Asia, if we go sideways up here, Asia is going to do this. is going to provide the pullback. You got sound? Sound check, guys? Okay. Asia is going to do that pullback component. Guys, if I see Asia, if I sit down and we're at extreme pivots of the previous day, I'm happy to take a scalp short to the downside. Okay? Only for the fact that the pivots usually, more often than not, are rock solid levels of, in this case, resistance or support. Okay, you can go through pivots, and quite often, on most days, oh, that was too far out there. My GFT is actually playing up a little bit here. It must be a New York Open. We use daily, weekly, and monthly MAPOS. Okay, so just trying to get my GFT is just playing up a little bit here. But generally, the pivot zone acts as support in downtrends, okay, or resistance. Obviously, didn't work on that day in most cases. Okay, so you can expect reverses. In fact, if you're long this pound here, if I was long this pound here, and I was long from, say, here, London, I would be considering getting out of my trade here. More often than not, the pivots are going to hold. So I like to use the pivots. I'm less and less of a trend line trader, Vam, to be honest. That's R2, Brendan. M4 to R2 zone. Okay? Just showing you here, just on these days, reach resistance, reversed, reach resistance, pretty much reversed, reach resistance, reversed. Okay? They sort of trades run out of steam in these pivot, we call them pivot profit zones, okay? And so that, if you've been in an uptrend, hello, here we go, that pivot zone is probably what's gonna create the fade. And here's the fade component here. Little pullback and then continuation. Okay, so that's the sort of thing. So if you see the fade opportunity in Asia and you're at the pivots, I think it's okay to take a shot. It could do, Adrian. I don't use that personally. I haven't seen enough evidence of that. Okay. Okay, we've got 15 minutes to go, guys. So we'll just we'll go finish off through these slides. That should probably take us to the end. So the other thing we can do, and this is a very specific to Monday, the opening of the markets. Okay, do we have any gap traders here? You guys, anyone here trade the gap? Know what I mean? Yeah, it's a strategy. A lot of people do it. There are people out there that make all their money in a week in the first few hours of Asia, and then they're gone. Okay? Right, so it's a little strategy you can have, right? Where gaps form over the weekends, geopolitical news. Asia misses the New York Friday. 15-minute change of trend off the 4-hour support or resistance, man. Okay? Asia misses Friday, right? In New York. So a lot of things can happen in New York that Asia doesn't pick up on. And then you get some things over the weekend, like your G20s and the terrorist attack here, and then someone, some political leader dies or says something about their country, and people make transactions first thing in the Monday morning, say in the banks in New Zealand, and that creates these gaps in the market where price on, say, London, New York's doing this on the Friday, and then it closes. Okay, here's our weekend here, and then on the Monday it sort of opens up like this. and pulls back and then continues, and you've got this gap there. And sometimes these gaps, guys, can be significant. These gaps can be 50 pips, 100 pips. We had some a few months back, 300 pips, 250 pips or so, opening the week. Okay, so the strategy is to close that gap and then continue with that trend. Okay, so you'd close that gap. You'd look to trade if you get a gap that's opened. So if this is our gap to start the week, and this is the general direction. Okay, you'd look to short into that, close that gap, and then continue that direction. Okay. So it will be closed at some stage, technically, of course, yes. No, you're literally going to scalp your way into the short with just a little high stop. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to scalp your way in and scalp your way down, close the gap, and then you probably can scalp your way long or spot trade your way long. But you're looking like risking like 10 pips here. Like on a 50 pip gap, risk 10 pips, 5 to 1. I'm not going to risk 1 to 1. No. If I had to risk 1 to 1, I'm going to walk away from the trade. That's not good trade management. Or that's not good risk reward. Okay? Here's an example. This is last weekend. Okay, so this is the Aussie 15-minute chart. This is the close. Correct. I'm not going to risk 1 to 1 on anything. Okay, this is the close on Friday. Here is our open on Monday. This here is a 50 pip gap. 50 pips opened, okay, short it, closed the gap, reverse position, got long. I was quite happy to see a lot of boot campers do exactly that on Monday's open. So does that make sense to any of you guys? And this happens fairly frequently, guys. Now, the gap doesn't always close, at least 3 to 1. Okay, and what you're doing here, now the way to get into these gaps is you just got to let it go a little bit, because sometimes the gap opens, right? Here's your gap. And sometimes it opens, and it just makes its way up a little bit more. And then it rolls over, and then it comes down and closes the gap, and then it continues. Okay? And then off you go. So you're literally just waiting for like a 1-minute price action scalp, or if you're a oscillator fan, you might take you might just let the market open. And so in here on the if you're an oscillator fan on this Aussie, you might have been waiting for like a Stokes cross or a MACD cross on like a 1 or 2 minute chart, and then just said, okay, I'm taking a shot, pull the trigger, little high stop, and like 10 pips away, and then if you're wrong, no big deal, and then just short that thing to close the gap, and then long it again. I'm not sure I understand your question, Jack, if you want to reword it for me. Okay, and in this case, this thing, just continued the whole day, and off it went very nicely. Thank you very much. But yeah, very much a strategy. A lot of people, guys, turn up and they'll trade the gap on like 4 or 5 pairs. And they'll short it. They'll short them and make 200-300 pips, and then they'll place some long positions. People can make multiple 100 pips in the first few hours of the week, and they're gone. They don't come back. That's their strategy. Okay, so it's something you can be mindful of when you open on a Monday. Yeah. How many hours do you work a week, Brendan? 3. And then I'm gone. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So that's essentially. See you, Jay. That's essentially how that works, guys. Okay. Little gap action. Look for short-term confirmation if the gap's going to close. Take a shot, and then off you go. Okay. The final little strategy I want to discuss. We've got 6 minutes here, so this is going to probably work perfectly. The final little strategy, guys, is trading news. Okay, Asia news we've discovered in Asia really can move the market for the day, especially the Aussie news. Aussie comes out in Asia with some of its significant news. Its jobs report, its interest rate decisions, things like its retail sales. We had CPI this week. The paired has plummeted off CPI data, and if you're very, very quick, gave a new scalp opportunity to the short side. But what quite often happens, guys, in Asia is, especially for things like the rate decision and the employment data, okay, they actually provide the Aussie yen, even like the New Zealand dollar that goes along in sympathy most of the time. It gives direction for the day. I've seen numerous times where the employment data comes out, it races off 50 pips, pulls back 30 pips, and then goes and disappears for 200 pips into the sunset for the rest of the day. And that happens fairly often, so we take a lot of note about what's happening with the news events during the Asian session. Thanks, Vicky. Okay. Also, there's some China news. China typically dump their entire month's worth of news, their GDP, their export data, CPI, PPI, all at the same time on you. And it happened, I think it was last week. We got China just deposited every single piece of news. What happened? That's very tradable as well. It usually, you sit back and wait for that news traders to digest. There's a lot of data, and then once it gives a direction, you take a fib pullback and try and trade it in that direction. Because, Jack, you're at an area of, like on a 4-hour chart or a daily chart, you're at a level of support or resistance on those longer time frames. And if you're there, you've got a lot more confidence that the Asia trade will take you for a lot longer. If you're in between levels or you're not at a specific level, it's going to be a lot harder to read. Okay, here's the Aussie dollar. Now we tried to news scalp this. We tried to news scalp this the other day. This is CPI data. Bubbles, it's your commodity currencies. Aussie yen, Kiwi, even the CAD, I would say. And of course the USD. This here, guys, Aussie CPI data came out 30 minutes after the Asia Open the other day. Boom. Big fat, did not like that result at all. Down it came. In here, you can't really tell, but it did give a very quick pullback to a 382 fib in here. Came down, pullback. If you were quick, we didn't take it in class. It's happened a little bit too fast. But if you're quick on your feet, you can trade. And then that extended, and we extended, and we extended. Then we pulled back in London a little bit, and we extended a little bit further. But that news release essentially gave you 260 pip trade to the downside if you'd somehow were in it from the top, but like 200 pips quite nicely. Okay, I don't find the yen pair as much, Jack. It's these the Aussie, China and the Aussie are just in bed together, right? China's just buying up all their resources. They have to make transactional foreign currency transactions between Australia and China. The Aussie and China are so pegged. That's where we put our focus. We use Trade the News, Bubbles, so that comes out with the live data. Okay, that's it, guys. That was pretty much all I was going to talk about, and then I had a little summary. We're a great session to trade in Asia, guys. We have a lot of fun doing it. Asia is suitable for all sorts of trading strategies, as we've just been through. Okay, just put there the yens and the Aussie are usually the best pairs to trade, and news in Asia can set direction for the day. Just a little summary. We can make a lot SW1, believe me. And we're worth coming and having, even if you just wanted to check for a week, pay $99, come and check us out. But we're going to take a 30-minute break, guys, and I'll be back. And we'll just, for the premium members, we're going to really start getting into some stuff, okay? Cheers.